Alright guys, we're gonna get started here. I hope you guys are doing well. Hope you're doing the homework. Um, April 2nd test is coming soon, so maybe a month left, so you wanna really start preparing pretty hard for those. Go ahead and get your math packets, calculators, let's get started. Open page 15 of the math packet. All right, on page 15, there is an equation C. One of the most important equations. So let's get started with difference of squares. Difference of squares. And formula is a squared minus b squared is equal to a plus b times a minus b. One of the most important equations you're going to carry to the college. You're going to be hammered on this one in college, especially freshman fall semester. You're going to see this equation get used a lot. So very important. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a bunch of problems starting with the easy ones, okay? So let's get started. The first one, and the question may be simplify or factorize, okay? They'll use either of the words, simplify or factorize. So factorize, of course the first one is easy, x squared minus 64. Go. And this easier for question will be around the first 10 of the ACT. Should you not take much time on this one? So a squared minus b squared, so x squared minus 8 squared is x plus 8 times x minus 8. So what it means is if I FOIL this, I go back to this. Okay, that's what it means. So if I factorize this, I get this. If I FOIL this, I go back to this one. I've seen these questions in the first 10, just too easy of a question. Then it starts to build, okay? Second, simplify 8x squared minus 200. And this will be around question number 25-ish. So remember, this is an important problem. The reason being, remember, either 8x squared or 200 are perfect squares. Okay? They're not perfect squares. 64 and x squared were perfect squares, so you could immediately factorize. So when you have two terms separated by a negative, but they are not perfect squares, there are two options you have. One, they may not be, and this is something you cannot factorize, or you try to factorize before you factorize. So you do what's called double factorization. And I'll tell you what I mean by this. Between 8 and 200, 8 is common, x squared minus 25. Right? Now you have two perfect squares. So 8 times x plus 5, x minus 5. So this is called double factorization. But remember, it has to be negative. That's why it's called difference of squares. So keep an eye on that one. Sounds good? Okay. Question number 3. X raised to 6 minus y raised to 8. Again, factorize or simplify. All right, this is the next type of problem. So you can see here, when we talk about difference of squares, so it is at square term, 2 on the top and the numerators. But we don't have it here. So when you don't have it, your job is to see if we can make it happen. So this is the first step. And of course it has to be negative here. So I'm going to make x raised to 6 as x raised to 3 raised to 2. Now remember, there's a rule, a raised to m raised to n is a raised to m times n. 3 times 2 is 6. So I'm not changing the value of the problem. I'm just rewriting it so that it resembles this way. So 3 times 2 is 6, but the 2 is at the top. That's what we need. Minus y raised to 4 raised to 2. Again, 4 times 2 is 8, 2 is at the top, 2 is at the top. This becomes my a, this becomes my b. A plus b times a minus b. Again, I want to repeat this. If I FOIL it, I go back to this. If I factorize it, I come to this. So FOILing and factorization are two opposite operations. Make sense? Questions so far? Online students, any questions?
What's the answer? It's a little fuzzy.
This one?
Yeah.
X cubed plus y raised to 4 times x cubed minus y raised to 4.
Okay, thank you.
The next question is a question number 60 in ACT. This has been asked many times. So I'm going to give that question to you guys. If somebody has an answer, tell me your name. So I want to see how many get this. Okay? Remember, the hint is it's the last question of the ACT. So there is something to it. Okay? It's a challenge question basically. And I believe, I remember that data, what 2% of the students who took that test got it right, only 2%. So I still believe many of you should get it here, okay? We'll see. Question number 4. Factorize a raised to 16 minus 16. Go. I need to know the names if you're done. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow, a lot of people. Good. Anybody online?
I'm done.
Okay. How many are confident your answer is correct?
Like 85%.
85%, okay. Anybody else? More than 85% confident? Anybody 100% confident their answer is correct?
I think it was multiple choice, and my other answer wasn't on there. I know. That was 100% right.
I still think if you don't have the answer, okay, let me do this and then I'll tell you how they trapped students in this one, okay? All right, let's see. None of them seem 100% confident on this. So. All right. A raised to 8 square minus 4 square. So a raised to 8 plus 4, a raised to 8 minus 4.
That's the
That's the
answer.
answer.
How many got this?
I got that.
Oh, a lot of people.
I
So
feel
y'all,
like it's not the answer, it's too simplified.
they all got it wrong then, yeah.
So
This was the answer A, choice A, and this is what people wrote.
is it 8 to 8 plus 2? Or no?
Maybe a to the fourth plus two, and then a to the fourth minus two.
Yeah.
To simplify it
That's
down.
what I was.
Very, very good. Very, very good. So what happened was, this is still a perfect square because this is negative. These two are, so a raised to 4 square minus 2 square. So a raised to 8 plus 4. This remains as is. A raised to 4 plus 2. A raised to 4 minus 2. This is the answer.
You see, I think if I saw that on multiple choice, I'd have been like, yeah, I'm gonna figure something out.
But the thing was, this was the answer, and how, this is not wrong, right? This is not wrong. So how did they state the question? Factorize to the simplest terms, and that's what they were asking for here. It's kind of sneaky one. So you got to be careful with any of the last 10. There is something to it, not sometimes too much, but something to it. So just to give a little thought to it. If it's too easy, something is up. Okay. So you guys good with this? This is a huge topic. This is one of my favorite topics in mathematics. I love this to death because it's going to be used a lot in college and later part of your high school. We're going to stay on page 15. Last time we were still doing the number lines, remember? So I'm going to continue the number lines, but I'm going to directly get to examples, okay? All right, so go to the next topic, number line. And I'm going to continue question number 5 today. Another important topic, okay? Let's go. Solve for x.
We read the answer as a number line.
Either as a number line or in the brackets, whatever. Yeah. So when we did discuss the absolute functions, remember absolute function measures distance, and distance is always positive. So this number is positive, so we're good to go. Then you can continue the problem. If this was negative, you write no solution right away, okay? So 2x minus 1, when I break the absolute sign, is equal to 7, or 2x minus 1 is equal to negative 7. Remember, I've taken the absolute sign off. So x is equal to 4, or x is equal to negative 3. So either you can write the answer like this, or you can do the number line.
Which one would it be on the test?
I've seen both,
Right.
literally 50-50. One of the things, Garrett, I want to tell you this, and it's going to apply to everybody. Take this answers you get, plug here and make sure it comes out correct. Again, I'm going to repeat, test your solution. Especially with this topic, I've seen a lot of funny things happen. Sounds good? Try this. And I want you guys to draw a number line for this. Now, I want you guys to listen to this. So when you have an less than inequality, an absolute less than inequality, the first thing you guys have to do, of course, to get rid of this 4 here, divide by 4, that's the easy step. Absolute of x minus 1 less than 3. Alright? This is called a compounded inequality. So when you have a less than, the first step you have to do is take the negative number of this, negative 3, less than, remove the absolute, x minus 1, less than positive 3. So the x value is bound between two extreme values, negative to the positive. Then you solve for it, plus 1, plus 1, plus 1. So it's negative 2 less than x less than 4. So your number line is going to look like this. It's a hollow circle. It's not equal to, and this is your number line. Excuse me. Make sense? So when you have a less than, it is bound between the negative to the positive. Okay? Again, what's the thing to remember with inequalities? Test your solution. So if it is between negative 2 and 4, I'm going to pick 0 for example. I'm going to go back to the original equation. 0 minus 1, negative 1. Absolute of negative 1 is 1. 1 times 4 is 4. 4 is less than 12. So my answer is correct.
So for these ones, you don't have to do two separate ones. You can just do it all in the one compound equation.
Yeah, in the less than, you do it together. It's a compounded together. So it's built together. But in the greater than, it actually goes to OR function. This is called an AND function. This is called an OR function. So we're going to go to the next one where you do the greater than. So let's do the same problem and see how the problem changes if it's greater than 12. Try this. Question number 7. So again, divide by 4 both sides. So absolute of x minus 1 is greater than 3. So when you have a greater than, this is how you do it. X minus 1 is greater than 3, or, this is where the or comes into picture, x minus 1 is less than negative 3. So it's greater than 3 or less than negative 3. So the less than and the negative take care of each other. So x is greater than 4 or x is less than negative 2. See how the number line looks like. 0, 4, negative 2. So it's x is less than negative 2, so it's going to go in this direction. And x is greater than 4 goes in this direction. Make sense? And so the value of the x remains the same. The directionality of the arrows change in less than or greater than. So you can take any value. Let's take 5 for example. 5 minus 1, 4. Absolute of 4 is 4. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 is greater than 12. Make sense? Anybody, any questions on this? You guys making sense? All right, I would like everybody to repeat these two questions. Do it again, please. Go, these two. It's good practice. All right, so that's all in page 15. Go to page, yeah, question.
So for the one where you have to simplify it again,
Uh-huh.
you could have to keep simplifying it if it wasn't too bad.
Yes,
So like if it went to like 4 or whatever instead. You could-
Exactly.
Okay.
so when it says to the lowest terms, and look at the multiple choice and see if there's anything further they have done. The reason we had to stop at 2 because 2 is not a perfect square.
So.
If we do, but a raised to 8 plus 4 couldn't be factorized because it's a positive binomial. It has to be a negative binomial to do the factorization.
Yeah, but they did that on the test, probably.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen this is the one. And in advance, we learn a little bit more about what happens if it's a positive binomial. That's what I'm teaching next week to them.
All right.
Yeah. Let's go to page 14. 15 is done now. And I believe 14 is also done for polygons. Just make sure everybody remembers that. Right? We did 4 polygons. Good? So now go to page 13. Now, remind me, did we do GCF and LCM? Does that sound ring a bell?
Yeah, but I don't know if we did it.
I don't think we did.
I think that might have been like the first thing we did.
I didn't find it in my notes. I want to just make sure. You know, sometimes. Online students, do you guys remember GCF and LCM? Did we do it here?
I don't think so.
Okay, let's get started. GCF and LCM. Usually, right after the number lines, we do this. So, well, you guys have been doing this forever. So I'm going to directly get to the problems. It's on page 13, all the way at the bottom. You can use that as reference. First question, and I want you to do the both GCF and LCM. Okay. Find the GCF and LCM of 16x cubed y, 12xy cubed. Right. So let's start with the GCF, greatest common factor. So it has to be common. It is a factor. It has to be the greatest. 16 and 12. 4 times 3, 4 times 4. The greatest is 4, common. And for the variables, you're looking at the lowest exponent of the variable. 3, 1, x, 1, 3, 4xy is the greatest common factor of these two. Good. And let's say if there is no y here, for example, then the answer would not have y here. You with me on this? So you have to look for the greatest common factor. And for the variables, you're looking at the lowest exponent. Okay? Least common multiple, common multiple. Not factor, multiple, opposite of it. So you start with the biggest number, 16. 16 doesn't go with 12, right? Next number of 16 is 32. That doesn't go. 48, that goes with 12. So 48 and variables will be the highest exponent. Make sense? Excuse me. Try this. Same question. 7ab square c cube 5bc square. GCF. So, between 5 and 7, is there anything common? One. That's one is always going to be common. So we don't have to write it 1. But let's do it just in case. For the variables, lowest exponent, A, no A, so no A. B, B squared, so we're going to go B, C squared. Okay. And for the least common multiple, 7, 14, 21, 28, 35. A, B squared, C cubed. Highest exponents for the variables. Make sense? You guys good?
Good.
Okay. So we're still on page 13. You have a set of data here. Set of data here. You have to find the mean, median, mode, and range. Okay? Go. Mean, median, mode, range.
What's the last number in that set?
5050. What did you guys get for the mean? You,
57.
you add all the numbers divided by 8.
8.
Average?
Oh no, 57.875.
Okay. You guys got that? Right? It's simple, right? Okay. For median, you gotta be a little bit careful. You have to arrange the numbers in ascending or descending first. So 24, 24, 36, 50, 83, 79, 86, 91. Okay, so 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. So you're left with the middle 2. So you find the average of the middle 2, which is
61.5.
61.5. That's the median. Mode, the one which repeats the most, 24. Range is highest minus lowest, 91 minus 24.
67.
Make sense? So this will be in the, maybe the first 20 you're gonna get. This will be in the 21 to 35 range, 21 to 40 range you're gonna get. I've seen this questions being pretty consistent over the years. They will be throwing these questions. Sounds good? I want to start the next topic, but I don't want to stop in the middle. Well, have fun. I'll start the next topic next week, okay? All right, students, have a good day. Bye-bye. Leaving you a little early, like a snow day today.